I don't know why this is going to force me to go live in this orientation, but all of that work for nothing. What it do, YouTube? Nostalgia, your boy, Corey Owens. Man, I get on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I'm watching other people's content. And I watch a lot of podcasts. And I hear people talking about very important things, minus a lot of the context that's needed to really put it all into perspective. It's bad. The state of America right now is terrible. And it's really hard for us to have this conversation. You know, I'm probably going to go over some people's heads. This stream is probably not for the average person, the average sheep, so you will, because ignorance is bliss. And a lot of people are still very much in this ignorant state where there's a lot that they don't know about so much of what's happening in the world with dating, with the economy, with artificial intelligence. And I'm going for a walk, so I figured I'd be a little bit productive and try to just kind of kill two birds with one stone. Maybe I can mount this, but I feel like it's just going to fall out. If I mount it in this orientation, it might slide. I'm using a selfie stick, which I've never used before. Oh, snap. And so that I can give y'all a little bit of a perspective of me walking while I stream. And I don't know, I don't like this. I don't think this is gonna be useful. We'll try it. There's so much that people just don't know about. I'll just start with America. The economy and the state of the economy is terrible right now. But what people fail to talk about is the state of not just the place that we call America, but the company, the organization, the corporation. United States of America. The United States is a corporation. America is the place in which we live, the land that we live on. But the United States is a company, like Starbucks and Target and Walmart and McDonald's are companies. They all have a president and a vice president, right? And we vote for these presidents and we think that these presidents can make a difference. Meanwhile, it's the same, however many members of Congress in there running the show, and we're fighting with each other because we have a difference of opinion for who the president of this company should be that doesn't give a fuck about us at the end of the day. So we can never fully address the state of America until we can start to recognize and have a conversation about the truth that is the United States of America. And everything else that falls under that truth will not be able to be fully addressed until that truth is addressed. We can't address dating. We can't address feminism. We can't address, maybe we can address a little bit of the artificial intelligence. We can't address really the state of the economy, because we have to remember this is a business that's being run. And there's a reason that these businesses and the business itself of the United States is being run into the ground. We are being divided. Our families are being broken apart. And they don't want us to have successful relationships, because the more successful relationships that we have, the more likely we are to be able to recognize the truth, come together, and be able to fight this system that is America. America is a system. And it's it might seem like it's a very poorly built system, but it's a really intricate, very well development, or very well developed, very intentional system. The system runs off of lies. The cog that turns, that makes the system what it is lies. And the lies are built so intricately and they work so well. And this is why nothing is working right now. We've reached a point of no return. Dating is not going to get better. Jobs and businesses are not going to get better. They're going to get worse. Feminism, it's not going to get better. Family unit, it's not going to get better. Our incomes are not going to get better. We might make a little more money. You might go from making nothing to making $100,000 a year, and that might sound great. You might make $200,000 a year, but the reality is, the money, our monetary system is already worth nothing. So is that really a great thing? No, that's the equivalent of making about 50 grand, with a decent economy, but we don't have a decent economy because you still have to spend $50,000 just to feed yourself. That's not your son, your daughter, your brother, sister, mom, dad. That's making $100,000 is hardly enough for one person. So is being a six-figure earner something to brag about today? No, not really. And in order to address all of these issues, we've got to talk about the company. We've got to talk about the Maritime Admiralty law that dictates how the company is run and how the people interact with each other. Hey, how you doing? Our English language, etymology, this is something that the average person can't understand, can't grasp, can't wrap their finger around. We don't talk about it. Forgive me for putting my face all the way at the top of the screen, but this is something that your average person doesn't have even the basic understanding to be able to wrap their heads around how to solve the problem of dating, how to solve feminism, how to solve, their financial crisis. We can't wrap our head around these problems and provide good solutions for them until we fully understand the etymology of how America operates. The English language is a huge deal. What's up, guys? So I don't even know where to begin with that. And I don't think this stream is the appropriate place to really dive really deep into that. But as shit hits the fan, and the reason that shit's gonna hit the fan is because, one, people already don't have the discernment to determine whether or not a video is real, whether or not a president actually said something for real or not in a video, whether or not a person in a video is a human or an artificially intelligent interpretation of a human being. Most people don't have the discernment to know whether a picture of a room, of a house, is artificially generated or if it's a photo taken with the camera, right? So you got people arguing about whether or not the earth is flat and the moon is real, but they can't even discern what a real photo looks like because they aren't photo editors, they aren't photographers, they don't understand lenses, right? They don't understand the foundation of a photograph to be able to use photos or videos to tell you whether or not something is real. The highest that they've been in the sky is inside of a plane, right? So everybody arguing and fighting, they don't even understand what they're fighting about. It's all opinion. But it's all based on these false narratives and false things that control us and keep us all separated from each other. The truth is, the truth is not going to set you free. It's going to set you up. It's going to set the standard, but it's not going to set you free. It's going to hold you accountable, if anything. And that's why a lot of people run away from the truth, because they don't want to be held accountable, right? So ignorance is bliss. The less that you know, the happier your life will probably be. And a lot of people are fighting to marginalize, minimize the truth, because ignorance is bliss. They don't want to know the truth because it holds them accountable. It holds them to a higher standard. And that's a lot of responsibility. As it relates to shit hitting the fan and the economy just being absolute dog shit, the only way that we can address any of it is by acknowledging the plethora of truths that most people fail to consider or talk about. And I'm talking in circles a little bit, but we have to start there. Truth and accountability. Shit is really about to hit the fan. Come November 1st, this election, we're fighting to choose between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, when they are doing nothing but distracting us, because it's still going to be the same members of Congress making a lot of the decisions. At the end of the day, why is it that we have to choose between them two? Where is the guy that has a PhD and a masterate in whatever and owns 10 businesses? Where are the actual intelligent people who want better and have the power? They're not running for president, or they can't. Whatever the reason is, it's just there's a system set up to keep us somewhat in this position to be focused on options instead of focusing on the truth. Hey, how's it going? Doing pretty good. Hey there, pup. You too. Thank you. Hey, maybe one day. It's so hard to have these conversations because you have to get so deep down into the root of what these problems actually are. Nice. Beamer. You have to get down into the root of the etymology, the language. And until we do that, we can't address any of these problems. I'll give you a few examples. And, if you look up Jordan Maxwell on YouTube, he talks really about the surface level. And I love the idea of surface level, because it feeds right into his speeches on etymology, where it goes into maritime admiralty law. And it talks about how, we operate off of relationships, and, every ship or boat is a female, a woman. The boat goes to the dock tour, right, and gives birth, BERTH. And, if that product is damaged, it could be considered a stillbirth. We deal with currency, and we go to the bank, to leverage liquid assets, blah, blah, blah. It's all this sea talk. It's basically America, the United States, operates off of maritime admiralty law, which is the law of the water, not the law of the land. And there are these etymology. The etymology consists of all these terms that actually have legal definitions for the words in our English language, but we use them in these non-legal ways, and we define them in ways that aren't true to what the words actually mean. Therefore, when we think we know that we're talking about something, we really never realize that we're actually using the wrong words and the wrong phrases and the wrong terms and the wrong definitions. Therefore, we have no control over the language. The language has control over us, right? So when you go to court and you think these words mean one thing and you say those words, but legally in court under maritime admiralty law, those words have a different meaning. You're fighting and fighting and you're thinking, oh, just because I'm a good guy and I did all the right things, I should win this case. You don't realize why you lost the case, because you don't understand maritime admiralty law to realize that the court is the same type of court you'll see in the NBA. It's the same type of court you'll see in, tennis, in a professional tennis match. It's a court. Therefore, there are two sides fighting, and they use the racket to put the ball in the other person's court. Racket, your voice, right? So there are all these meanings to these words that control how we move through America and how we navigate through relationships, right? And we're wondering, why are we having such a hard time dating? We don't understand what relationships are actually for. A relationship is an idea that was constructed in this context, and we think it's just a natural thing for humans to be in relationships. But the relationship is a very specific construct meant to kind of control how we live our lives and the flow of our currency, right? So all of these terms is just like, it kind of probably is going to go over somebody's heads. But my point is, we can't address any of our current problems until we can get down to the root and start gaining the knowledge that's needed for humans to be able to realize we're fighting with each other, because there's this higher, I wouldn't say a higher power or higher being, but there's this higher knowledge that rules our over how we build connections between and with other human beings. It's a hard conversation to have because it sounds very superficial, and it's not easy to just take someone who's never heard of these things before and give them all this information all at once for them to just understand it. It's like, you can't win in dating if you don't get this foundation. You can't win in business if you don't have this foundational knowledge. You can't win in politics if you don't have this foundational knowledge. You can't win in legal battles if you don't have this foundational knowledge. You can't win in life if you don't have this foundational knowledge. And when shit hits the fan, let's say after this election, and you're alone because your relationships have failed, you have no one you can go to, you don't have a strong relationship with your mom and dad and your family, you moved away from everyone you know, all the people you think you know and trust are going to turn on you, right? Let's say there's a EMP or whatever. I think that's what it's called. And, something knocks all the power out and all of your devices stop working and the internet stops working and your phones die. And you try to connect with who you think are your friends, and then they're not there for you because they're feeding for themselves and they're suffering, and there's no food in the stores, and you're now having to defend yourself alone and barricade yourself in your house. When this shit happens, it's just like, all right, what are you gonna do? Not having, hey, how's it going? Good. That's a good boy.
That's his job, dude. He's growing up from mom and there was a son coming,
Yes, sir. That's a smart man. Are you treat training?
Absolutely.
Yes. Get some treat subscription on Amazon. It's the best thing. Those dogs will learn really fast.
Auto ship for everybody.
That's right.
How's it going, man?
You too. Having that foundational knowledge of how the world actually works will put you in position to be prepared for when shit hits the fan. It's not going to help you out practically. There's a lot of preparation that you're probably going to have to do. Like, you're going to have to start saving your money. You're going to have to downgrade your house or apartment, downgrade your car. If you have a car note, sell your car and go get something cheaper. You're probably not going to do any of this, but practically understanding that there's this foundational knowledge that is going to help you better understand how to build some important relationships, how to discern whether or not something is legitimate or real with artificial intelligence. There's a lot of people out here with dogs. How to, be fully prepped when grocery stores close or don't have bread and food on the shelves. Hey, how's it going? Good. Outside of the practical, you've got to be able to really understand why these things are happening and what you can do to prepare for when they do happen, when these things do go down, to be able to build sustaining relationships, if not with other people, with yourself, right? But until you get this foundational knowledge, when shit hits the fan, you are going to be fucked. Even if you do have a few extra loaves of bread and some toilet paper or paper towels, right? Because being able to recover is going to require you to be able to acknowledge the truth about how this world works, about why these things are happening. Everything is going to have to get worse before it gets better, which means even if you do survive, if there is a martial law declared, if there is a shortage on essentials like toilet paper and food, if there is an EMP strike and all your electronic devices go out and the power is out for 3 weeks and all your food goes to waste, even if you are able to survive that, you're going to have to be able to recover. And recovery is going to, your ability to recover, I believe, is going to depend heavily on your ability to discern truth. And that is going to be in all things, in your relationships. Like I said, ignorance is bliss. And the more you know, the harder life becomes because the more accountable you have to be to following that truth that you now are able to acknowledge. And the truth is, America operates in this business that until you understand the business, until you understand the language, the etymology, and the reason that the English language is constructed the way that it is, you will never fully be able to understand yourself. You'll never be able to fully understand your relationships. You'll never be able to fully understand how to navigate through this world after everything collapses. I think that in order for the music industry to get better, for real talented artists to be able to have a platform, the existing platform has to completely die. Before the government gets better, before the president actually has a good platform, a good foundation, the current foundation has to die. As in, all the members of Congress literally have to die, or something has to happen to the structure of this this government before things can get good. They have to get terrible. They have to get far worse. Before dating can get better, it has to get far worse. And before feminism, can be productive, it has to get really bad. Women have to suffer. Children are going to have to suffer. Men are going to have to suffer. Part of the suffering that's going to have to come to the world also means that men are going to have to choose to bring some of that suffering, not with the intent to make people suffer or make things worse, but if men pull away from their essential roles that your average person doesn't know about, climbing, climbing those light light towers, right? Running electrical wire, running cable, Ethernet, deep diving to, supply the seas with lines of Ethernet, right? So that our internet can be connected everywhere. Maintaining our cell towers, right? Working the assembly lines and engineering the electronics for assembly lines to continue producing cars and transporting oil to gas stations. all these essential things that allow for the conveniences of life will have to temporarily go away, and men are going to have to like go on strike or something before things can really change. They're going to have to get terribly bad so that the people who are fighting to divide this world up can also suffer, because until we're suffering at our absolute worst, those people at the top will never suffer. Until we stop providing the hope that my phone isn't freezing, or I don't know, all the conveniences from our contributions that support the people at the top. I think somebody tried to call me. There we go. Before we're able to make things better, the people who are benefiting from our hard work, which unfortunately includes women and children, will have to suffer some so that they can experience and realize the truth and start to hold themselves and others accountable to recognizing and rewarding the people who are in position, who are in these positions, making the world go round. Ultimately, that's what it is. Dating can get better for you personally. Your financial situation can get better for you personally. Regardless of the economy, your job situation can get better for you personally. You can probably go and find a great job if you really wanted to. And as far as the discernment with things like artificial intelligence, that's going to be like a personal journey for most people. Being able to decipher like whether a Donald Trump video is real or fake, we don't have enough experience or history with recognizing the artifacts in artificially generated images, and those images and videos are improving perpetually at a rate that's far greater than our ability to be able to learn, catch on, and have a firm grasp in like being able to decipher like, oh, that's what an artificially intelligent nose looks like, right? That's what an AI generated human sounds like. Like, it's improving way too fast for us to ever be able to learn what it is. Therefore, it's never anything. There's no such thing as an AI voice, because AI is improving and changing so constantly that the voice today from an AI generated video won't sound like the voice tomorrow. It's going to be better. So by the time we do get a grasp and an understanding of what an AI picture or video looks like, is going to be heavily improved, because the technology is on an upward trajectory. And that technically can be a bad thing. There are plenty of benefits, but there are far too many people in the world who don't already recognize what that technology looks like for them to ever be able to have true discernment in understanding what an AI generated like image or video actually looks like. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Same people? Hey,
Yep.
what's going on? That AI generated content is improving at a pace that I don't really even know like how to make it make sense for the average person. But it's not looking good. And with the election around the corner and the fall of the American currency and the rise of things like Bitcoin and potentially a new altcoin, maybe called the Amero, something that is going to be a one world currency, digital currency. It's going to be very hard for us to decipher, you know, what transactions are real and not, what emails are real or not, what phone calls are real or not. They're going to be able to use your children's voice and place phone calls on your child's behalf and scare you into transferring all your money into accounts that are real using AI generated videos. They're going to show you videos of your children because, and I need to think about this too, because they're going to rip your videos of your kids off of your Instagram and Facebook profile or pictures and videos, and they're going to use that to generate AI content and then use that to trick you into believing that something is wrong with your child when they're off at school. They're going to cut off their phones and emails and internet connections, and you're going to think they're going to use their phone numbers and emails to contact you, and you're going to think that it's them, but it's going to be AI the whole time. And they're going to trick you into transferring all of your money over. And that's a very real threat, right? The potential for AI to do great things is great, but the potential for AI to do very bad and negative things is far greater. And this all is going to fall back on your ability to discern, but your ability to also seek truth. And before you can discern and be able to understand what's real and fake and be able to understand what's true or not, you have to seek real truth. And before you can build significant relationships and put together a family unit and have any ounce of an ability to protect yourself when things hit the fan, when there's this big reset, you are going to have to be able to understand what's true and what's not. The truth is United States is a corporation. Corporations run like a business. We are employees of that business. We operate on maritime admiralty law, the law of the sea, not the law of the land. Etymology is the study of language, and the English language has this very particular set of definitions for the words and terms and phrases. And if you don't know what those things are, then you will be ill-equipped and unable to recognize what's true and what's real in other aspects of your life. And that is a significant problem. That is a huge problem that is detrimental to you and your family's ability to live after this big reset. The truth is the most important thing that you should be seeking. The etymology is something you should constantly be studying. Okay, so, I want you to have better relationships. I want you to find a boyfriend, a girlfriend. I want you to have better business tactics. I want you to have more success, get more clients. I want you to feel more confident about yourself and be able to, develop the skills that are necessary to be able to live in this world. This reset might give people a chance to rebuild credit, to start over from scratch, but also you can't go into this new world without understanding what's real and what's not, because the new world is going to be full of so much artificial stuff, of so many artificial opportunities, and it'll be very easy for your life to be ruined and for you to be put in this spiral of depression, of failure. I myself have sought the truth in nearly everything that I have done in my life, and it is not a fun pursuit, because to seek the truth, oh my gosh, to seek the truth means to hold yourself accountable to a very high standard that your average person is gonna make your average person feel very uncomfortable. This is why relationships don't work for you. This is why friendships don't last very long. This is why you don't frequently get invited out to things, regardless of how cool you are, because the truth makes people very uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the lies make you very uncomfortable, and the lies are what keep most people feeling very safe in their relationships. They might not feel safe in the world, but their safety in the world is not nearly as important to them as other people's perception of them and their relationships. And this is why it's hard to build new or sustainable relationships, because most relationships are built off of social validation. And social validation is the biggest way to avoid the truth. Avoiding the truth is the quickest way to being socially validated. For example, when I talk about etymology and the English language and the importance of these meanings of these words, they're using things like men becoming women, women becoming men, transgenders, transitioning, and the whole gray blurred line of those terms and the meanings of these words and identifying as this and that to further their agenda of taking people further away from the truth and keeping people further away from their ability to discern what's real and fake. It's all part of a big plan. Now, I love all people. I love people regardless of what their decisions are, right? That's the best way to live in God's image or in the image of Jesus Christ. I love all people. I love my neighbor like I love myself. But in order to do that, I have to love myself first so that I can love my neighbor like I love myself. That being said, I have nothing against someone's decision to, modify their identity. But I'm not going to fall in line with the agenda of like being forced to use terms and phrases and call people things that they are not. The truth is the truth, and that is set in stone. It's very binary. It either is that thing or it's not that thing. Bruce Jenner is a white male. He is not a woman. He didn't transition into a woman. He can't transition into a woman. Biologically, there's no way to do that. Now, there's some posts, and I don't know if this is real or not, about him wanting to be a black person. And I guess that would mean he transitioned into being a black woman if that was ever a thing. But he did get Woman of the Year after however many months of him, quote unquote, being a woman. That's not a real thing. He was never a woman. He's not ever going to be one. But he got Woman of the Year. And it further ignited and perpetuated the delusion that Americans are living in, not acknowledging that there is this truth. And the further that we get away from the truth and the etymology and the understanding of the English language and the reality, the harder it's going to be for us to live a normal life or a comfortable or sustainable life after the Great Reset. Because AI, artificial intelligence, is going to be everywhere. And you will not know whether it's your child or a computer calling your phone. You will not know whether it's your grandma or a computer who was in that car wreck, in that video of the car getting hit that your grandmother drives on the street around the corner from your house. You will not know whether or not those things are happening for real the further away from the truth and your ability to discern that you get. And that's what all of these things that are happening right now in the world is trying to perpetuate, your inability to recognize the truth. The further they can take you away from that, the easier it is going to be for them to be able to keep you out of relationships. The easier it will be for them to keep you from building families. The easier it will be for them to have you and everyone you know split your money into 20 different Amazon Prime accounts and Netflix accounts when you all could be paying for one house, paying one bill, paying one Amazon account, paying for one Netflix account together. A nice house with 10 small rooms, So to perpetuate this, everybody dividing themselves up and going and buying their own houses and paying for their own rent and being independent and not having a girlfriend or boyfriend and living in this way that you're solely responsible for yourself, the easier it is going to be for them to deceive you when you are no longer connected to more people in your life the way that you used to be before technology and artificial intelligence took over. Shit is about to hit the fan. Once this AI gets into politics and the video of Donald Trump doing some unfathomable thing hits the internet, and Donald Trump finally gets assassinated, and we are justifying that action from some guy that we don't even know is real, right? People are literally going to die because of artificial intelligence and AI generated videos and phone calls and photos, etc. People are literally going to lose their lives if they're not self-deleting, if they're not doing it to themselves. People are going to do it to each other, because that's the world that we're about to be living in when shit hits the fan. Dating is going to be far worse. Women are going to suffer. Children are going to suffer more than they are your children. So I just want to bring all of this to everyone's attention. My video is probably not going to hit anybody important, but if you think that this is really valuable, important information, then you'll do the right thing and you'll post this on your Facebook and ask people to please watch this. And you'll spread some information too. Go study etymology. Go look at Jordan Maxwell's videos on YouTube about maritime admiralty law. That will help you get started into understanding the foundation of America. And I think that could put you down this black rabbit hole, but it could also put you on track to being able to start seeing other things in your life for what they are, instead of what they want you to see it as. Peace.